deep in the mountains, where shadows play among the dense forests. There is an ancient manor house known as the House of Shadows. This forgotten place has witnessed many mysterious disappearances and strange occurrences, but no one dared to enter its overly gloomy halls. One day, a group of friends decided to test their courage and spend the night in the House of Shadows. Alex, Emily, Mike and Sarah gathered together with flashlights and cameras, set up to record their adventure. Shortly after sunset, they crossed the threshold of the manor, unaware that this decision would change their lives forever. The first hour seemed serene. Friends spent time exploring rooms, trying to summon ghosts and laughing at fears. But as the night grew darker and their jokes faded, strange things began to happen in the House of Shadows. Footsteps could be heard along the corridors, but when the friends turned around, no one was in sight. Shadows danced on the walls, like animated creatures ready to engulf them in their darkness. Soon they began to hear whispers, as if something unknown was trying to contact them. Emily, the bravest of the company, decided to have a session of contact with spirits. In the center of the old living room, she laid out candles and began to recite ancient spells. At first it seemed that nothing was happening, but then the room became cold, as if a window had suddenly opened. Suddenly, the candlelight wavered, and the mirrors on the walls began to reflect something gloomy. The shadow in the corner of the room slowly began to take the shape of a man. The friends' eyes widened in fear when they saw a ghostly silhouette standing in front of them. "You woke us up," whispered something that could not be seen in the dark. The hearts of the friends froze in horror. They looked at each other, realizing that they were not alone in this house. The ghosts began to show their malice, calling out to friends, as if demanding their company in eternal darkness. The shadows in the rooms became alive, absorbing the light, as if trying to hide the last remaining light that remained in the manor. The friends realized that they were trapped between two worlds, the world of the living and the world of ghosts. With each passing hour, the ghosts became more and more intrusive. They beckoned friends to dark corners, calling them to their world, where there is no place for light and life. Shadows stretched out of the walls, chasing them through the corridors, and the whispers became clearer, as if the ghosts were trying to convey their suffering. The night grew longer and longer, and the friends felt their strength leaving their bodies. They tried to find a way out of the manor, but the doors were closing in front of them, as if the house's own will would not let them out. Alex, looking into the dark eyes of the ghost who stood in front of him, said decisively, "We are not going to become a part of your dark world. We need to go home." The ghosts responded with raucous laughter, and the next moment the whole house was buzzing, as if waking up from a long sleep. The walls shook, the candlelight flickered, and the shadows swirled in a vortex, forming a funnel of darkness. At a moment when everything seemed to have lost all meaning, Emily suddenly felt something invisible touching her hand. She turned around and saw the image of a man whose figure was illuminated by the light. It was a ghost, but not evil. His eyes radiated tenderness and warmth. "There is a way," the ghost whispered, "but you must be ready to reveal the secret of this house." The dark shadows of the ghosts retreated, as if giving way to them. The friends heard the whispers again, but now they were words of instruction. Once in the center of the house, they discovered an ancient scroll that recorded the history of the manor, its secrets, and a way to free themselves from the shadow that had long enveloped the House of Shadows. However, the ghosts were watching them, and with every step towards their freedom, the friends felt that something sinister was watching them in the dark. The only question was whether they would be able to uncover the secrets of the House of Shadows and escape from the clutches of these sinister ghosts, or become part of their boundless darkness. After reading the ancient scroll, the friends learned that the House of Shadows was once the home of a powerful sorcerer named Morgan the Warlock. He plunged his dwelling into darkness in order to gain immortality, but as a result he summoned sinister forces that consumed not only him, but everything inside the manor. Since then, the house has become a haven for ghosts, and everyone who entered became their hostage. According to the scroll, there was an ancient spell that could break the curse. However, to activate it, it was necessary to go through 3 trials, revealing the dark secrets of the house. The first test required finding Morgan's lost mirror, which held his last memories. The mirror was somewhere in the maze of rooms and corridors winding beneath the manor. With each step, the friends felt the dark shadows trying to slow down their progress, creating illusions and traps. The second test was supposed to reveal the secrets of the forgotten library where Morgan kept his powerful spells. They found ancient scrolls full of scary predictions and demonic entities chained to this place. Among the scrolls, friends found pages with parts of the same spell, but key elements were missing. The third test turned out to be the most difficult. The friends had to pass through the Hall of Fiery Shadows, where the shadows of ghosts turned into flames, burning everything in their path. It was a test not only for their physical endurance, but also for their soul, as the fire reflected their darkest fears and secrets. With each challenge, the friends got closer to the solution, but the ghosts, who plotted to maintain their curse, became more and more aggressive. They lured friends into traps, created illusions of fear to stop them on their way to freedom. After passing the last test, the friends found themselves in the central hall, where, according to the scroll, they had to activate the spell. Around them, the dark ghosts began to thicken, and the shadows became more and more intrusive. The friends' hearts were pounding with tension, and their hands were shaking as they began to recite the ancient words of the spell. However, at the very last moment, something went wrong. The hall was filled with gloomy energy, and the scroll in Alex's hands lit up with blue flames. Then the ghosts howled from afar, and the shadows fell on the friends, disappearing in a stream of black magic. In the dark, the friends heard a ghostly voice. "You woke us up, but you couldn't free us. Now you have to become a part of our eternal darkness." Now they were in another world, where time did not exist, and shadows swallowed up their light. But in this new dimension, they heard the whispers of ghosts offering them a chance to return and continue the fight. After all, the dark forces of the manor were not going to let their new hostages go so easily, and the friends understood that their adventure was just beginning. In this eternal maze between light and darkness, in the dark dimension, where the friends were trapped in a ghostly world, they heard the soft whispers of ghosts offering them a chance to return. After all, despite the defeat, the friends left their mark on the estate, awakening souls long forgotten in this ominous darkness. The ghosts promised to help them if they could unravel the mysteries of the place and find the keys to their liberation. The friends agreed and went into a new round of trials. This time, their path led through forgotten dungeons, where sinister shadows created a maze of riddles and puzzles. They faced a choice: to return to the bright world, leaving the darkness of the manor behind them, or to stay to solve all the mysteries and free the forgotten souls. With each step, the friends came closer to a solution, but the ghosts continued to test their will. In the depths of the dungeons, they discovered an ancient altar where powerful shadows merged into a single whole. There, in the darkness, the friends learned that they were not the first to try to break the curse. Other souls stuck between light and darkness became allies in this struggle. With every day and night spent in the dungeons, friends gained new knowledge and abilities. They learned to use light and shadow to their advantage, to unravel ancient glyphs that stored knowledge about the past and the future. But the ghosts continued to set traps for them, testing their resolve and fortitude. The friends realized that the fate of the House of Shadows was closely linked to their own fate. They had to make a decision, return to the bright world, leaving the darkness behind them, or become the last victim to completely break the curse and free the ghosts. At the most crucial moment, standing in front of the altar, the friends looked at each other with understanding. They knew that the decision carried a great price, but they were willing to pay it to end the suffering of the manor and its souls. Even in the darkest darkness, you can find light if you're willing to look deep, Sarah said, holding out her hand to the altar. At that moment, light pierced the darkness, and the dungeon hummed, as if forgotten souls breathed a sigh of relief. The dungeon began to lighten, and the shadows began to dissolve. All the ghosts who were trapped in this place disappeared, leaving only an echo of their torment. The friends woke up in the central hall of the manor, where the tests had previously taken place. There was only a calm light around them, and the shadows had disappeared. They could feel the house breathing freedom, freed from the dark shackles. However, it only takes a moment for the footsteps to sound again. But this time it wasn't the footsteps of shadows, but the sounds of real footsteps. An old man came in the door with a surprised expression on his face. What happened? He asked, looking at his friends. The friends exchanged glances. They had freed the House of Shadows, but they now knew that the curse was not only in the walls of this house, but also in the souls of those who would dare to enter its dark secrets. Their adventure was not over, for the dark forces released by the ghosts were now free. The friends realized that their task continues to guard the border between light and darkness, in order to prevent anyone else from becoming a victim of the manor, swallowed up by the eternal shadow.